Today I'll be reacting to your WWE Bad Blood hot takes. Bad Blood was an incredible show that finished. We had so much going on. We had The Rock return, Jimmy Uso return. We had Goldberg there. We had Raquel Rodriguez return. There was a epic Hell in a Cell match, so I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot to talk about. But before we get into this video, I want to remind you to make sure you leave a like on this video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, turn those notifications on, and if you would like to submit your hot takes in the future, whether it be for Monday Night Raw or pay-per-views, make sure you follow me over on X at Conman167, as that is the place that you can submit your hot takes. All right, let's get into this thing. Gage Goldberg versus Braun Breaker will main event a PLE one day. One of the most wild things about Bad Blood was seeing Bill Goldberg at the actual show, and he was sitting there with his son, who, by the way, looks like he is absolutely destined to become a pro wrestler. And I do think he was there on purpose. I don't think this was just to have him sitting alongside of his dad at the show. I really do believe this is him getting used to the wrestling business, seeing how things operate, whether it be building a storyline, whether it be building a feud, or just being in that environment. It does feel like someday we are going to see Gage Goldberg in a WWE ring. How long until that day happens? I have no idea, but the idea of him versus Braun Breaker eventually main eventing a PLE is money. That is, of course, if Gage Goldberg can actually work a wrestling match, but if they book him anything like his father, he doesn't need more than 3 minutes in a ring. Just spear, jackhammer, and get the F out. But having Gage Goldberg versus Braun Breaker in like a battle of the spears is very, very intriguing, and if WWE is smart, they will invest some money in Gage Goldberg, they will train this man from the ground up, they'll put him in the Performance Center, and they'll put a bunch of money behind him, because why wouldn't you? It's been proven that second generation superstars, that third, fourth, whatever generation superstars print money for WWE, and Gage Goldberg could very well be one of those guys that prints a bucket load of cash for WWE. Great show in my opinion, just didn't like the way that Liv and Rhea ended. And that's very fair. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley was a really well worked match that had kind of a ending, you know? It was one of those endings that I don't think was actually meant to go that way, unless it was. Again, I have no idea if WWE decided to book a DQ finish, but it certainly seemed like Raquel was a little confused, as she did put Liv Morgan over top of Rhea Ripley after all was said and done. This made it feel like we were supposed to get a 3 count and Liv Morgan was supposed to beat Rhea Ripley with the help of Raquel Rodriguez, but the referee saw her interfere and thus called for a DQ. I don't know if the ref was supposed to be looking the other way or whatever, but he called the DQ and protected the integrity of the match. You can't really blame him on that. It was really the only weak point on this show. We could argue about Damian Priest and Finn Balor all we want, but overall, it was really the only weak point on this show, and the DQ finish didn't resonate with a lot of fans. It wasn't bad, the match just deserved a little better. All in all, though, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, I think, crushed it in the ring, and they really did perform up to the standards we were expecting. Hopefully no screwy finish in the future. Hell in a Cell should have been the main event. This is just another example of The Rock throwing his weight around. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre absolutely deserved the main event, and everybody knew it after watching the actual Hell in a Cell match that took place in front of us. It is one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time. I will stand behind that. I really do have to go back and watch it again, but to me, it's one of the greatest ones I have ever seen. And with 10 months of story behind it, it really does feel like Drew McIntyre and Punk should have been main eventing this show. They broke tradition not having a Hell in a Cell match go on last at Bad Blood, and it was all for The Rock. Now, don't get me wrong, I am thrilled to have the final boss back. I am ecstatic that The Rock has returned. He's gonna bring so many new viewers back in once again, and so many people will be interested in checking out what's going on in WWE thanks to this man. But yeah, it did feel like once again he snaked the main event away from CM Punk. Rocky, don't forget, he's thinking all the way back to the kickoff show where CM Punk was on commentary talking trash towards The Rock, and The Rock right then and there said, "All right, kid, you want to bet? Here we go. I'm going to take your main event spot at Mania this year. I'm going to take your main event spot inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. I'm going to take your main event spot at WrestleMania 41. I'm going to take it at WrestleMania 42. SummerSlam, both night main event. Or I'm even going to main event the Royal Rumble. Damn it. If you're on the show, I'm main eventing." It really does feel like a petty move by The Rock going on last, but here's the thing. It is The Rock. It's the final boss. It's the guy who is going to bring the most amount of attention back to WWE, and certainly during a time when when WWE is losing viewers to Monday Night Football, losing viewers to just kids going back to school, you name it. WWE's in a little bit of a lull right here after SummerSlam, and The Rock coming back brings a lot of eyes to WWE. It just sucks for CM Punk. There's no other way to put it. Him and Drew McIntyre put on an incredible opener, and there is no reason why it shouldn't have been the main event other than The Rock coming back to WWE. It's a big deal. I can understand why WWE ran with it that way because it's what most people are going to talk about, but it's there's not much you can do about it. The Rock is going to do The Rock stuff, and he is going to go on last. That's just how it goes. Although he lost the feud, it has been his year. He's the MVP. What do I think is next for Drew McIntyre? What I think is next for Drew McIntyre is, I think, a little bit of time on the shelf. He has been busting his ass for a long time in WWE, and I think it's time for Drew McIntyre to go take a little seat until the Royal Rumble. Right now, unless you plan on putting Drew McIntyre in the World Heavyweight title picture, which I believe is going to be CM Punk or potentially Goldberg, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have Drew McIntyre on the show right now. He should go home. He should lick his wounds. He should reassess the man he became. He should look deep into his soul and wonder what it is he has to do to get back to the mountaintop. Because he's been so focused on CM Punk for so long, he kind of lost his way. And if Drew McIntyre can go away for a little bit and come back at the Royal Rumble, it could be a massive pop that could actually lead to him winning the whole thing. And if we're playing the long-term story right here, they could lean into Drew McIntyre and CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania if they really wanted to. It could be a triple threat alongside of Gunther and Punk. It could be something completely different. It could be just Drew McIntyre versus Gunther one-on-one for the World Heavyweight title. I think Drew McIntyre will be fine. There's a lot of options for him moving forward, but I don't want to see him regress in his career. This has been an incredible run in 2024, and I think we need to end it on a high note. Go home, spend some time with the family. You've been through a lot. Your family's been through a lot. But when you come back, we'll be ready for you, Drew. Same energy. I clocked this literally during the live stream, and I think a lot of people at home did as well. Drew McIntyre pulling off his own Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. This was beautiful. It was just one of the things that made that Hell in a Cell match so damn good. The little details, the callbacks in the feud, the fact that they made Hell in a Cell feel like it was truly a vicious structure that brutal things happened inside of. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre brought back that Hell in a Cell feeling. That is what Hell in a Cell is. This image right here of Drew McIntyre looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin is literally all you need to look at to get a feeling and a vibe of how vicious this match was. It was money. It was incredible. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, Hell in a Cell match of all time. You're next, boy. Goldberg to Gunther. Goldberg versus Gunther. I'm all for it. Who in their right mind would be against Gunther versus Goldberg? I never considered Goldberg coming back to wrestle one more match against Gunther. After he dropped the name of Goldberg in the Bret Hart promo, I did not expect it to actually lead to something. But the fact that Goldberg was sitting there front row with his son and Gunther was telling him that he lied, that he's not one of his favorites, because how could he be one of his favorites when Gunther, is the best wrestler in the world? Oh my God, man. Gunther on the mic is just killing it these days. His overall character is incredible. And the idea of Gunther versus Goldberg is one of those big time money matches that you didn't know you wanted to see until you heard it. I really hope this is Goldberg's final match and we actually do get a strong fight between the two. But in the end, it needs to be Gunther who beats Bill Goldberg. If this is another one of those Goldberg comes back like he did against The Fiend and wins the title, I do not want to see it. And I don't think anybody at home wants to see it either. But the idea of Gunther beating Goldberg to add to his legacy, oh man, that idea is incredible and it needs to happen. This belt is absolutely beautiful. I think you might be the only person who likes this belt. Look, I think the concept of this new Crown Jewel Championship that was introduced by Triple H does have some potential in creating some good matchups, but it couldn't be more obvious that it's just the Saudi Arabian government saying, hey, we're going to give you a boatload of money, make us a championship. I've never felt great with the whole Saudi Arabia deal, and while we have got better WWE shows over the last little while, while, this is still just one of those reminders that it is basically a paid advertisement from Saudi Arabia's government. The fact that we're going to get now kind of like a battle of the brands every year at Crown Jewel is cool, though, I will admit. Putting the World Heavyweight Champion against the WWE Champion to see who is better is a cool idea. It's like what we used to get at Survivor Series, and also pitting the women's champions against each other is a great idea as well. This could turn Crown Jewel into almost what Survivor Series used to be, where you see maybe the tag team champions face each other, the United States champion and the IC champion face each other, you name it. There could be a lot of potential to this. But the championship is ugly, man. That is a bad looking title. I don't think that looks good whatsoever. In fact, WWE completely blue-balled us with this, where they made us think that we were going to get some women's mid-card championship, like a women's intercontinental title, and instead we get the paid Saudi Arabian championship to figure out who's the best. This is a reminder that they also have the greatest Royal Rumble championship that Braun Strowman has never defended once. So I really hope that this is not one of those titles that they just give to the champion and then they forget about for 5 years. But hey, you never know. Nia performed so well in her match. People will try to tear her apart for that Hurricanrana spot, but not many people her size, male or female, would even attempt that. She really looked dominant and fluid tonight. I'm very impressed. Nia Jax is incredible, and she is on the run of a lifetime right now. It wasn't long ago that Nia Jax really was viewed as a dangerous worker by the IWC, but she has completely erased all of that by coming back and putting in the work. She legitimately is on the greatest run of her career. She was crushing it as Queen Nia, and then absolutely crushing it as the World Heavyweight Champion of the women's division, and her and Bayley went out there once again, proved how much chemistry that they have. We saw it all the way back at NXT Black and Gold that Bayley and Nia could put on a great match, and again they followed through by delivering here at Bad Blood. And yeah, people might criticize Nia Jax for that spot, but here's the thing, they got through it, nobody got hurt, and the match continued, and they really executed the finish well. If you can save a spot like that, if it goes wrong and you're able to get back on track and it doesn't derail the entire match, you get a double thumbs up from me in my books. Like, legitimately, Nia Jax is becoming one of my favorite wrestlers on SmackDown. Her work is so good right now, and there's no stopping her. I don't know who is actually going to be the person to take the title away from Nia Jax. Maybe Charlotte Flair in the future. She did say bow down to the queen in her promo, which is something from Charlotte Flair's repertoire. So maybe it's Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax, queen versus queen, and I think people would be down for that. Remember, Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair had that big old exchange in the ring just a few short years ago where they were absolutely shooting on each other. I'd be down for a title feud for them. But yeah, kudos to Nia Jax, killing it in WWE. KO just attacked Cody Rhodes from Cody's tour bus. Yeah, Kevin Owens turned heel. What the hell is going on? KO attacking Cody Rhodes after WWE Bad Blood right in front of the tour bus. There was some words that were exchanged, and then all of a sudden Kevin Owens jumped him. Security was out there. Nick Aldis was out there trying to separate them. Kevin Owens drove off in his beautiful Lamborghini, but I couldn't believe what I was looking at. KO took out Cody Rhodes. He turned heel off camera. This is crazy. This is almost unseen in WWE. And it's this level of production that WWE is bringing to the table right now that makes everything they do so must-see. They make you feel like you have to follow them on all their socials, because when things like this happen, you're obviously going to see it on the WWE show come Monday or come Friday, whenever they choose to air it. But when you get to see it in live time, it feels real. It feels so legit. It's like, that just happened. WTF, Kevin? Now I need to know on Friday Night SmackDown why Kevin Owens jumped him. Are we going to hear from him? It will definitely be one of those segments, and it could definitely launch another feud between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. Maybe there is some unfinished business there that they really need to lean into. But heel KO is back, and it is going to be great. 13 years later, and The Rock is the reason why Punk isn't in the main event. We already talked about this, but the final boss came back and he said, no kid, you don't get no main event slot. I'm getting that main event slot. Punk's gotta be pissed, dude. I feel bad for him, but like, what can you do? It's The Rock. He's literally a member of the TKO board. If he decides he's coming back, he's getting the main event slot. Nothing you can do about it. I don't think Jimmy and Rock returning on the same night was needed. Jimmy could have waited longer. That is certainly one way to look at it, that Jimmy Uso wasn't needed on the same night as The Rock, but you could also argue that Jimmy Uso definitely was needed in order for them to protect the bloodline. Jimmy Uso was the reason that the bloodline lost. lost, not because they got beat by Roman and Cody, but because Jimmy Uso interfered and caused that little distraction, caused that moment of chaos that allowed Roman Reigns to succeed in. He thrived in it, and that allowed him to beat the Bloodline. Without Jimmy Uso coming back, I don't know how you have the Bloodline lose in a way that protects them. What this does now is it keeps them strong enough moving forward. It gives you that potential feud between Solo and Jimmy. It also gives you that feud between Jacob and Jimmy. There's so much extra stuff that is going on now because of Jimmy Uso's involvement that if you just had The Rock at the end of the show, it would probably be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns standing there side by side as The Rock looks at them and does this thing. It's cool. It still has the same impact, but it didn't protect the Bloodline. Jimmy Uso coming back was certainly needed. It's been long overdue. It's great to have him back, and this builds 2 War Games now. Now we could potentially see Jimmy Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns all on the same team. Maybe Jey Uso joins them as well to take on the new Bloodline. I do believe that's going to be War Games. But it is late. It has been a long day, so I am going to tap out. Thank you very much for submitting all of your hot takes. I really hope you enjoyed Bad Blood. Let me know any other thoughts that you have down in the comments below, as I really look forward to reading them. And again, we do this after every single Monday Night Raw and every single PLE. So make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on, and keep coming back because we upload wrestling videos every single day. Thanks for watching, and my God, Bad Blood, what a show.